Hello everybody and welcome to our home here in Brittany in northwest France. I'm Jane, my husband Mike is behind the camera and we are a thrifty, frugal and money-saving couple who every Wednesday open our home to all of you and share with you a mid-week money chat. So let's take a look at what we're going to have a talk about today. Inflation. It's a very, very hot topic. Any and all of the frugal channels have all debated it, discussed it, given you advice on it, and it's our turn now. It's our turn to share with you all about inflation, the inflation that we have here, how we're coping with it, and what we are doing about it. So without further ado, let's get on with our chat about inflation. Start with chatting about the things that we are seeing as having hugely inflated prices. Well, let's face it, it's everything. Clothing items. I was looking online at a specific clothing item that I bought about 4 months ago for about 18 euros is now 23. So that's just typical, isn't it, of the type of percentage increases that we're seeing. Food items, a lot of food items, I'm seeing anything from a 10 to 25% increase. Our energy, our electricity has increased by 5%, but in many cases, oil and gas has nearly doubled. Fuel for our car, that went up astronomically for a while and it came down again, but we already pay extremely high prices for fuel here. Our car runs off diesel and I think the equivalent US dollar price is about $7 a gallon is what we already pay here. So as you can imagine, we're already mindful about the use of our car. We are renovating a property here, we're renovating a barn on our property, and what we're seeing in building materials are prices doubling, trebling. We're seeing plant prices for our garden increases. We are seeing increases in absolutely everything that we might need for our house. So for example, electrical goods and all of those things, they are all increasing. So let's get on with what we're going to do about this, how we're going to manage this, and how we personally are coping and sharing that with all of you. Now we're really aware at the moment that if anything in our house breaks or needs replacing, that it will sting us financially at the moment if we need to go and buy something. There isn't the competitors vying one against the other to sell you a better deal on a vacuum cleaner or our washing machine. So what we're doing at the moment is being really mindful and careful of what we have. I'm being really careful not to overload or strain my washing machine. I'm being really careful to make sure that I'm drying out and cleaning out the seals around the door properly, that I'm cleaning out the filter properly. I'm doing exactly the same with my dishwasher. I'm making sure that I keep the salt topped up. I'm making sure that I keep the filters really clean. I'm doing exactly the same with my vacuum cleaner. I'm really upping my game on the maintenance that we have. We're making sure we look after our car, our lawnmowers, our garden equipment. We're giving it a really good thorough clean. Everything that needs oiling or tinkering with or looking after. Because we're really mindful of the fact that right now, we don't want to pay those really high prices if we're going to have to replace them. So there's point number one. What we already have, we're being very careful with it. We're making sure we keep up our maintenance and our cleaning of these products because we don't want to have to replace them. Now the next area area that we've got a little bit of control over is our discretionary spending. In times like this, the plain truth of the matter is, and we share this with you, we're very honest with you, we're very open with you, is there's less to spend. Because our bills have increased, because food prices have gone up, because fuel prices have gone up, there is just less to spend. So we are very mindful of that. We've just seemed to have had one thing after another. Our washing machine, our washing line broke. We had to buy a part for it and things like that. So we're making sure that our discretionary spending goes on the little extras that we need. Those of you who watch the channel know that I'm a quilt maker, and I like to go to charity shops to buy things like bedding, pillowcases, duvet covers. But I'm very mindful when I'm doing this now that I'm walking in the door with cash. I'm walking in there with 10 euros in cash, and I spend that, and that's it. So those areas that we don't really spend a lot on anyway. We don't really spend a lot on coffee, for example. It's not something that we do. It's not something that we never ever do, but it's something we might do once a year, twice a year. But we are very mindful of these things. So if we do have days out, and of course we do, we cost them carefully. We think to ourselves, well, the end of the month is coming up. We do have some fuel in our car. We do have a fuel budget. We can have days out, but we make sure we do things, for example, like take a picnic with us, made from food from scratch that we already have in our home. So one area that we can control, but it's shrunk. I told you I'm honest with you. It's shrunk, is discretionary spending, and we are more mindful of that now than we've ever been before. Now, like most families, we don't have a lot of spending power at the moment. We don't have a lot of spending options at the moment. And we're having to do exactly the same as all of you, and that is focus on the essentials. Now, we're older people, and like a lot of older people, we have reached that point in our life where we have paid for our house. So we don't have any housing costs. We don't have a mortgage. We don't have a rent to pay. And if you're younger and you're watching this, that is something that you will have to look forward to in your old age. I must add here, that isn't always going to be achievable for absolutely everybody, but it will be for some of you. So we are focusing on the essentials. We are focusing on making sure that we are aware of our electricity consumption. We have a smart meter, we can log on, we're looking at our consumption. We have a water meter, good old-fashioned dial in the ground. We can look at our water consumption. We are focusing on using less of everything to compensate for these increases in prices. But we're also focusing on the fact that we need to be aware of all of this has knock-ons. So we are aware of when insurances come up for renewal, they will increase. So we are mindful of the fact not to just let them roll over onto the same deal and look for those. There's not much of a difference in most of them now because all of those prices have gone up. Their wage costs have gone up. Their energy costs in their offices have gone up. All of that has gone up. Their insurances have gone up. There's a knock-on effect for all of us. But what we are doing is really focusing on paying those essential bills. We heat our house with wood. We are redoubling our efforts to make sure that we get our wood cut, wood stacked, wood seasoned. And if you are somebody who does that, if you are heating with wood, those farmers, those delivery drivers, they're going to have a knock-on for all of it. They are going to have to put up their prices. So make sure before summer comes that you've got your wood supplies in. Make sure that you're putting that money aside, which we would do if we had to buy gas or we had to buy oil, because those prices are astronomical. And what we are doing, and we make suggestions, we never tell people what to do, is to focus on those essentials. Now the next section, what we're doing about it is food. Food has seen a massive increase in price, not just here, but in every country in the world. Absolutely everybody is paying more for their food. And there's nothing much that I can do about that. I can't offset it one supermarket against the rest. I can't go look for better deals because the deals are now what I was paying before. So when I go out and buy meat, for example, if I'm buying chicken or pork, or if I'm buying fish or I'm buying beef, the deals are the prices at the higher price that I was paying before. So on average, we are paying 25 to 50% more for some food items. So what are we doing about it? We have chosen as a couple to focus on nutrition. We have focused on trying to eat as healthily as we can for our budget, which means there are things that we've just stripped out of our budget. All the goodies, all the treats, all of those things are now seldom and not frequent. There aren't the soft drinks, there aren't the salty snacks, I'm not baking cakes. Those things are now seldom treats and they are not frequent. So they're not weekly, they're every so many weeks that I might make something. So we might go on a day trip, for example, and I might make a few muffins to go out. And it's not that those treats and bits and pieces are breaking the bank. It's not that they are hugely expensive, and it's certainly not that I'm suggesting anybody else ever does what I do. It means it allows us to have the money to focus on the fruit, on the vegetables, on the meat, on the cheese, on the milk. Those things that are essential and healthy parts of our diets that we are choosing to eat, for example. So those are the choices that we're having to make. We're having to eat less meat, less fish. We're bulking out our plates more than ever with salad, with vegetables. At this time of the year in France, because people here eat very seasonally, things like greens, broccoli, cauliflower, all of those things increase in prices. So guess what? I now go and buy those frozen. I buy them frozen. And the prices on those are very reasonable. I'm also doing the same things that I've always done. I don't shop on one day. I don't shop in one supermarket. I look at all their brochure prices, which I look at online. Some people get them through their door. I don't want that waste paper to recycle, so I look at them all online. So I might buy chicken in Lidl. I might buy cleaning materials in Netto. I might buy dog food in Intermarché, and I might buy my cleaning products in Leclerc. And you might be thinking, well, that's a lot of fuel. These supermarkets for me are within about a 5-minute journey. If I got and went from each and every one of them, I could travel to all of them in about 5 minutes. So I'm not wasting fuel on those either. But when I'm doing my food shop, I am aware that the big deals that I used to see in the past aren't there. But if they are, for example, chicken here costs about $9.50 a kilo. If I see it for $7.50 a kilo, I buy it. And normally I would buy a big 1 kilo pack, which is a huge amount for just 2 people. And I might even buy 2. What I'm not doing with food, and I thought I would share this with you, is that we do not keep a big pantry. We do not keep a big stockpile. We have a small freezer, we have a small fridge, we have a small amount of places, and we don't choose to. But I keep a little bit extra. I keep a few more tins. I keep a few more packets. So I might have 3 or 4 packets of pasta, but I won't have 10. I might have 4 or 5 tins of tuna, but I won't have 20. So I just thought I'd share that because I do know people ask. However, I would fully endorse if you're a big family, if there's say 4 or 5 children in your family, if you have an extended family, and you do see good deals and you do see good offers and it is within your budget and you do have the storage facilities and you are going to eat it. And if it's right for you, you go ahead and stock up. next issue for all of us, and it's a huge expense, and in the UK it is crippling people, isn't it? And that is the cost of energy. Now, like all frugal people, we're pretty much on this all of the time anyway, because it's just expensive. It's always been more expensive here in France than we ever paid in the UK. And now it's coming to the stage where it's more in the UK than it's ever been in France. So let's start off with this. I must say, first of all, we do not have oil and we do not have gas, and our house is solely heated with wood. And in the winter, I dry my clothes over my wood stove. But in other aspects, I still have to pay for electricity the same as everybody else. So I'm just being more mindful. I'm very aware of the increase in prices. I'm very aware we will get another increase in price at the end of the year, which will take it up to about a 10% increase. And I'm aware of the fact that I need to keep control of this. So at this time of year, I'm watching the weather. I'm making sure I'm getting my washing outside to dry, because I don't have a wood fire heating the house at the moment. And I do not want to make a mistake and have a house full of wet laundry and resort to having to use the tumble dryer. I don't want to do that, not with the price of electricity. So I'm watching for that. And I know that sometimes I can get caught out, that the weather can catch me out. So I will bring in the laundry and pop it on a clothes stand to finish drying indoors, maybe near an open window, for example. I'm really aware of the energy prices, so I'm using my mini oven. Some of you call that a toaster oven. I'm using my mini oven far more than I ever did before. I'm using my Instant Pot far more than ever before. I wouldn't, for example, make a meat sauce or a bolognese sauce or a pasta sauce on the hob. I will do that quite quickly in my Instant Pot. I'm really making sure that normally I have one meal a week where we always cook twice and eat it again the next day. But we're doing more of that. We're doing 2 meals like that. We've got more salads on our menus. So we're doing that. We really are making sure that we are mindful of our energy and consumption. We're making sure, for example, with our water consumption, when we run off water to get the hot water, that we use that water to fill up a bucket, and we leave that by the toilet and use that to flush the loo. We're making sure that we're quickly in and out of the shower. With our clothes, we've always done this, but we always have a look at it. If it's not dirty, we'll put it on again. We are gardening a lot at the moment, and yes, we are getting dirty. So we treat those clothes like workers' overalls. And like workers' overalls, you're not going to put on clean overalls every day and then go out and get dirty again the next day. We might have those clothes for 2, 3, 4, 5 days even, and put our jeans back on. So we're making sure that things that we can delay washing, that we do if things aren't dirty. For example, towels after having a shower. We make sure we hang them up to dry and we wash them at the end of the week. So we're being really mindful and conscious about our consumption of water, our consumption of energy, our consumption of wood. And we're just being really, really careful with all of it, as I'm sure all of you are. Now, if you're a frugal person, if you're a money saver, if you're somebody who lives on a budget, none of this will be new to you. But what we are all doing at the moment is just tweaking it. What we're all doing is like sharpening our focus. And what Mike and I describe this as is we are upping our frugal game. We are making sure that we are wasting nothing, that we are looking after everything, that we aren't making any unnecessary purchases, that we are controlling our discretionary spending, that we are mindful about our energy use, about our water use, that we are being absolutely focused, really sharply focused on every single bit of it, that when we're in the supermarket, that we're looking at unit prices, that we're looking at, is it actually cheaper to buy this 24-pack of bathroom tissue when it's on offer? Taking the time to work it out. Is this huge 1 litre bottle of shampoo actually any cheaper than the regular 250 litre bottle? Not letting the supermarkets catch us out when we go in there with their offers that sometimes aren't that great. So what are we doing? We are upping our frugal game. There's a big picture, isn't there, sometimes, and I'd like to summarise with that and share that with you and be reflective. I normally start with reflection, but today I'm ending with reflection. And something that we practice in our lives, and it's to be calm, and it's to be sensible, and not to worry too much about these things. Yes, it means I don't have much money to buy things. Yes, it means I don't have the choices that I had before. But we are still eating, we still have the lights on, we're still washing our clothes, even if it is more expensive. But we're remaining calm. There are things in life that I cannot control. I cannot control the shortages of materials. I cannot control supply chains. I cannot control shortages of certain foodstuffs. I can only balance myself. I can only adjust what I do, and in some cases, change what I do. But my biggest thing that I'm going to end this with is that reflective part of staying calm about this and not panicking about this. Because if you do panic, and if I did panic, which I aim not to, it could be then that I start making bad decisions and think to myself, oh well, clothing prices are going to be going up. I need to go out and buy 15 t-shirts to keep me in t-shirts for the next 10 years of my life. I make bad decisions like that. I could make bad decisions on food and fill my freezer up and then end up having meat or fish that is in there too long and gets freezer burned, for example, and not be in good condition. I could end up with more tins in my cupboard of things that I'm not going to eat, and I would be sick and tired of eating tuna or sardines because I thought it was a good idea to buy them when they're on offer and buy 25 cans of it. So I'm being calm. I'm being calm, and that's what I'm sharing with you. My parting words with you is, yes, there's inflation. Yes, some things are extremely difficult at the moment for you, for me, for everybody. But in all of it, we're remaining calm. Thank you so much for joining us here at home on a Wednesday's midweek money chat. We ask you one thing, that if you've enjoyed the video, go on, give it a like. If you're not a subscriber, go on, hit that subscribe button. Now, I love the sharing community that we've got here. And I have a question for you. How are you remaining calm in these difficult times? How are you reflecting and making sensible decisions in these difficult times? Just leaves me to say, on behalf of Mike and I, thanks so much for dropping by. We'll see you again soon. Goodbye for now.